Yes, Mr. Pande. Avinash
Honorable
Pande.
Deputy Chairman, sir, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak in the discussion on the working of the Ministry of Power. As you are all aware, the House deliberated upon the crisis of power facing the country
I
and
know
its...
you are maiden speech, but only 10 minutes. Eh?
Sir, I'll finish before that.
Okay.
I'll finish before that. I'll finish before that.
Okay,
Sir,
whatever.
as you are all aware, the House deliberated
six, sir.
upon the crisis of power facing the country and its adverse impact on the country's economic development in the previous days. Though the discussion remained inconclusive, I begin with the hope that this debate and discussion will be a fruitful one. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight some areas in the power sector which need urgent attention. The continuous shortage of power across the country is a pressing issue that deserves the complete attention of the government. This power deficit is probably the most serious constraint that is holding India back from realizing its full potential for industrial development and economic growth. We will need to enhance our power generation capacity multifold if we are serious about achieving a growth rate of 8% in the coming years. When the UPA government came to power, power generation in the country in 2004-2005 was 85,525 megawatt, and by 2012-13, power generation increased by over 1.5 times and stood at 135,000 megawatt in 2012 and 13. We also initiated serious reforms for the debt restructuring of distribution companies to repair what has become the Achilles heel of power sector. In my humble opinion, experimental and pilot projects which have paved successful, such as Bhiwandi distribution franchisee model from Maharashtra, which successfully enhanced operational efficiency and reduced aggregate technical and commercial losses by 32%. In a short span of 2 years, should be studied and replicated in other regions too. I hope that the government will not hesitate in adopting best practices in the power sector, no matter where they come from. In the year 2012-13, the UPA government had succeeded in surpassing the set target of 17,956.3 megawatt for capacity addition and managed to record capacity addition of 20,622.8 megawatt. But all this initiative and hard work will be in vain if the present government does not take serious measures to ensure that power plants that have created this additional capacity are supplied with the sufficient fuel and are running at full capacity. Although we have achieved considerable success in reducing the plant load factor of thermal power plants from 74.8% in 2004-2005 to 64,004% in 2013 and 14. Many power plants are still reeling under the acute shortage of supply of fuel. Today, the Maharashtra State Power Generation Company has been forced to temporarily shut down 5 of its 210 megawatt plants, coal-fired power generation units, due to coal shortage. The shortfall in supply of coal to thermal power plants must be made good. The measure have to be taken on all fronts. The importance of quality coal for full capacity utilization of power plants can only be temporary measure, but even temporary measures ought to be executed in a timely fashion. The need to step up domestic production of coal cannot be emphasized enough. This can only be done if the government is serious about restructuring Coal India Limited, sir. Sir, and not only the Coal India Limited alone, but its subsidiaries to enhance operational efficiencies. As the most important producer of coal, accounting for over 80% of the country's domestic production, CIL must be held to high standard of compliance, especially in meeting its obligation under the fuel supply agreement with power producers. In addition, measures to check theft and illegal mining of coal are also needed. Sir, however, the new government must move forward in this direction with great caution. It is imperative that the interests of the end consumer of the electricity are not sacrificed on the way of strengthening the commercial viability of DISCOMs and power utilities. Domestic as well as industrial users ought to have access reliable and quality power supply at least possible prices. At the same time, the requirement of power in agriculture must not be overlooked while catering the factories and big industries only. I would like to take this opportunity to ask the Honorable Minister the details of proposed scheme for segregation of feeder of supply electricity to domestic and agriculture users in rural areas. It remains to be seen how these proposals will be integrated with the ongoing Rajiv Gandhi Gramin Vidyutikaran Yojana, which has so far covered several racks of domestic and household users of electricity across 1,08,099 unelectrified villages. Achieved the intensive electrification of 3,05,638 partially electrified villages are provided electricity connections to 2,15,09,337 BPL households, especially the developments of decentralized distribution generation project, though renewable sources of energy such as biomass, biogas, geothermal, mini hydro, and solar, etc. in rural areas must be encouraged. Similarly, while the government pushes forward the time-bound implementation model to hasten the development of power projects to boost the supply of electricity, it must not overlook the need of those who are displaced in acquisition of land for such purposes. While it is a fact that delays are sometimes caused due to land acquisition, resettlement, and rehabilitation issues, a time-bound implementation of project must not be implied that livelihood of project affected person and environmental safeguards are hastily compromised. The balancing of this competing interests will be of real test in pushing through the meaningful reforms in the power sector. The government needs to come up with such a strategy that does not sacrifice the right of the few to advance the interests of many. Only and only then they will be able to legitimately claim to have lived up to the great expectation aroused by their mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. With this word, I also compliment my young minister who belongs to my state, Shri Piyush Goyal, that the country and especially in power sector and the coal, with this coordination, he will be able to achieve all the targets which he has set in his last presentation also, and we hope that in his reply, he will be able to satisfy most of the demands raised by me. Thank you so much, sir.